I'm all sweaty. I took my big dogs out to walk and they're learning. It's a training process. First one did really well. The second one, I wanted to give away to free for people. I was like, take him, please. He's got a lot to learn. A friend of mine actually gave me like a metal leash, so when he bites into it, he stops biting it. He thinks it's delicious. Anyways, so we're gonna do an exercise today with ChatGPT. I wanted to share it with you. So a lot of the times with the content, I'm working on making it more natural. Well, that's what I talked about in my VSL. And so what makes it a lot easier sometimes is either when I think of you there and you're receiving the information and I can kind of just get this natural tone that I have right now. But obviously when I want to get a point across that's very specific, especially for that fast point by point content that you need for TikTok, sometimes I can come off as like, today is the day. It rains 3 times a day because there's clouds. And then, so it doesn't allow you for that kind of flow. You have to deliver and you want it a certain amount of length. But regardless, you're talking at someone at the camera. You're not really talking with them. And so what eases my mind and relaxes me to create better content, specifically for the classroom and moving on in general, is to have that idea that you're there and that I'm talking to you and we're having a conversation. But to make it easier on the app, so I don't know if you can see it, but chat exists in an app too, like school does. So you can see the chat's in there, kind of. Let's see if it'll, just trust me, it's in there. And so is school. School's in there too. You can kind of make it out right there in the corner, see where it kind of. So that's what I love about school, that it's also an app. People don't have to go to the website like www. They have to in order for you to get registered like you did. And I'm going to simplify that through a funnel where people can just click, and I'm going to teach you how to do that too. So, but with ChatGPT, you can talk to it to have a conversation. I'm going to test it now, and I'm going to videotape the whole process. It might go good, it might go bad, because I've never used this feature. Chat, Ace, I need a series of questions where you and I can interact and you can ask me, interview me, podcast style, about jet emotions. And I don't really have anybody to do it with, and I was wondering if you could help me. Now, the reason I'm a little hesitant about this is because my coach did it, and see, mine just types the questions in. So ChatGPT has 2 versions. It has the free version that gives you a little bit of the 4.0 version in it, and then it times you out on it, and it gives you back to 3.2. So I don't have the paid version. I'm keeping it simple. As soon as the group gets larger, then I'll invest in. And if you're just starting out, I recommend you do the same thing. If you have the budget, do all the bells and whistles. It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it for Loom. It's definitely worth it for ChatGPT. At the end of the day, $20 for something, it's still, even if you have 5 really good tools you can count on, plus your school, it's still under $500, right? And even if you were to outsource something eventually, you can still keep it under $500, and your overhead is super low. That's the advantage of doing something with school, that you can scale so much and you don't have to invest that much in it. So it just gave me a series of questions saying, I'd love to help you with that. Here's a series of podcast questions tailored to jet emotions. I'll ask one by one and you can respond as if we're having a live conversation. Let's jump into it. Ace, let's start with the basics that inspired you to create jet emotions and pursue digital marketing after your career in trucking. Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to answer this one so we can see how that flow is. See, that question, I didn't create it. It gave me that question. And it's a really interesting question. It's a question that a friend would ask. So I was going to have my wife do this with me. That's probably what's going to end up happening. Or I'll pre-record the questions and play them out. There has to be something that I could something that reads them out. Just click on that one question and reads them out. I'll figure that out and I'll share it with you. This is a really good question because I've been inspired about digital marketing for years. As a matter of fact, when Instagram came out, I was super excited. But there wasn't resources telling you how to monetize. And the people that were teaching you, it was either too complex or the barrier to entry was complicated or you had to wait a certain amount of time. And when I went into trucking, I didn't have that time to wait. It was a very difficult situation in my life where I had to invest in trucking and start moving in trucking to survive, to for food and bills and stuff. So I put it on the back burner. But I studied graphic design, and it's in my area because I love to create stuff and I love to help people. And I've always helped people. My life has never been money centric. My money centric side has been coming out as the years start to develop, and I've accepted that I love money and there's nothing wrong with that, because we don't talk about that enough either. So there's a few combinations here. It's resources, self-worth, your distrust of money. So sometimes when they say when it's meant to be, everything lines up, and it does. You have to go through your stuff and process your issues and figure it out. So that's why if you have somebody that has a perspective and can see what's going on with you and talks it out with you and lets you work it out, that's why we're always seeking knowledge. That's why these courses are always going to be successful until we die. It's just people are looking for ways to better themselves financially, to better themselves emotionally, to better themselves health-wise. So if you have that information and you can get it to someone faster and solve that solution, you make it click. And that is a true fan of yours. That's somebody that likes the way you tell it to them. That's somebody that likes the way you teach. So I decided to pursue digital marketing, and I've been working on it for a couple of years. I'm like, which way am I going to go? Am I going to create a YouTube video? But I wasn't as passionate about trucking as I am for helping people make money this way. Trucking, I am very grateful for trucking. I owe my house to trucking. I owe my vehicle to trucking. But that's it, because at the end of the day, it is a job, and there's only a certain amount of miles you can roll, because there's only a certain miles you can roll in an hour, right? Yeah, you can buy a truck, but that's also going to take your time, because that first 2 years you have to be on it constantly, like any other business. The difference is that here I can be home, I can take care of my animals, I can see my parents, I can see my wife. So it really does, like you have to see what the benefits are, how it weighs it. So I said, no, I'm not going to do a YouTube channel for that. I transitioned. And I was like, well, I could do content on transitioning. But that's just a personal dilemma, where the one thing that I'm going to ask you is, when you go into this, what is it you want to be known for when you're looking for your niche? And that's another thing. I was like, I transitioned to live. I'm not living to transition. I love the process. I'm glad that I live in this modern world where there's medication accessible to people like me, and that I could transition medically, and that I can go past a mirror and I can see myself for who I am. I'm super grateful for that, and I have a lot of content on it. I'm not saying never say never, right? But at the moment, that didn't want to be my main thing, even though I could help a lot of people in my community. But I could also help people in my community, because people that are minorities, women, trans people in the LGBT community, it's just people that are in situations where life didn't start off where it should have, or didn't get financial literacy like I didn't. I can still help you. I can help you by you doing something where you don't have to depend on going to a corporate office or a job where you could be mistreated, or you don't have enough money for your insurance coverage. So, and it gives you time to spend time with your family, if you're raising a family, or if you have pets to take care of, or elderly parents to take care of. So I'm saying this is, I can help my community too through it. I'm not just helping just people that want business or money. Because like I said previously in one of my videos, it's not about the money, it's about the freedom that money gives you, which is time freedom. And financial freedom doesn't mean like buying yachts, which is awesome. Who doesn't want a yacht? Maybe a lot of people. I might want to rent one of it eventually. But let's not get into that. But in the sense that like you can find solution for, usually most problems you can throw a little bit of money on it and fix it. As long as it's not health, and you can take care of your health by being healthy, by walking, by eating well, and by buying supplements and products. But you need money to buy the supplements. You need money to get the products and the things. So everything, if you have the financial support, you can live a very peaceful, if that's what you're looking for, happy, if that's what you're looking for, service, definitely, we all have to be a service to the community around us. And I don't mean like you have to be a service, but the more we give, the more we receive, and that's just, this is how it is. That's why a lot of these programs, and that's why most of the time it's give for free. Show the value that you have. No matter how many times you solve something, a bigger problem comes up that you can help, and it'll just come to you tenfold. So having that in mind, you can definitely have a lot of freedom to to do what you want to do, to help people, to serve people, and to live. For me, happy when there's peace, there's happiness. Because we all have different childhoods, and I had a very exciting childhood, and not in a good way. It was very, what's the word for it? It was very, there was no, even though we did have a routine and pretty much, I always had a house and food and stuff, but things weren't always, you didn't know if that payment was going to go through. You didn't know if you were going to have electricity. You didn't know if the house was going to be taken away. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of insecurity. So that you feel kind of like, so for me, peace and security is what I really fight for to gain with this, with financial freedom, is that peace that like nobody can take the house. I can go on vacation without stressing about coming. Because I also had a conversation with a friend of mine that said, they were like, well, it's not for money. And they were like, and I'm like, well, I let them explain it to me. And they're like, well, I have everything, He has a lot of toys. He was going on vacation. And I was like, right. But what happens when you stop working? And that's why getting out of the job, even if you still have it and you do this on the side, but ultimately why you need to do things on the side. Because most of us, while we're working at a job, don't have 6 months emergency fund, right? That's just like that. Those are the statistics and the numbers. That's why when you hear people talking about investing and the 1% and what they're teaching you, there's a very few people that are doing it, and that's awesome. But if you don't have the financial literacy to do it in the first place, right? You have to figure it out, find it, and it takes a minute because it's not always in one place. But that's what it comes down to. And so my friend kind of thought about it, and he was like, yeah, that makes sense. You can't miss 3 months of work for health reasons. There's no emergency fund. You might be living house poor, right? Where you have everything. You have that nice guitar, you have your computers. You might be able to go spend a weekend somewhere, but you can't spend an extra day. You have to think, okay, I'm getting back to that grind and doing it and working again. So yeah, that's a thing that happens. We get stuck in there. But so I wanted to help people, and I didn't know what I wanted to be known for. That's really what it comes down to. So I was like, I don't want to be known for trucking. It's going to revolve around that. I'm not that in love with it. I love it because the reasons I went into trucking was to eat and to travel. And to be able to help my family out, but in a way that I found joy in it. And it was awesome. I met my wife there. We met in school. And we started dating about 6 months after we started driving together. And we've been together ever since. So it's been an amazing journey. We saw all of the 48 continental US plus Canada into 3 provinces, if I'm not mistaken. So it was an adventure. I really, really loved it. I liked it. But I should have been posting, and this is why hindsight is 2020. I have a lot of beautiful pictures. I should have just made my Instagram into a promotional channel with inspiring quotes. I didn't have the resources. I was too tired to find it all in one place, because that's what I tell you. I was like, either you can do it by yourself. All the resources are online. It just takes a really long time. You have to find it all, and you have to connect it. You have to put it together. So it's longer, it's harder, and it costs more money. Or you do it with Jet Emotions. You go in there, everything's in there, everything that you need. If you need something else, let me know, and I could always add it to the curriculum, and we can work. I'll get in it. I'll do all the hard work. That's what I'm here for. And I'll condense it and make it a course that's understandable for you so you can get through it. So don't do it alone. There's a community of people that give you ideas that can, you can bounce ideas off of and do stuff like that. That's why community is important. That's why school's important. That's why school is such an amazing opportunity. So yeah, so I was already on this journey. I just didn't know how to. And every time I'd look something up, then kicks in shiny object syndrome. Where you start on one thing and you're like, okay, wait, but this ties into this. But then that takes you down another rabbit hole. So I said, I'm going to have surgery in December, which I had surgery in December. And I'm going to spend those months while I'm recovering doing proper research. Because, if you're working 30 to 50 hours and then you get a nap, and then all of a sudden you got like a 10-hour break where you have to take a shower, drive back to the yard. You know what I mean? I thought these 2 last years in the oil field, they're like, yeah, it's been 120 to 150 hours, and you'll be getting there, setting up, and then waiting. It's not like that. You get there, you set up, and even if you're waiting, you're trying to catch up with sleep. Some places don't have reception. So it wasn't what I thought, because I thought, okay, this is the opportunity. I'll be working, making money, and I'll be able to do research. So I was able to go ahead and create my Transform, Color, and Recover coloring book for the trans community, for everybody actually, because I have a general surgery recovery book too. People can color, and while they're recovering, and make notes for their doctors and stuff like that. And I did it. I did all the research. I did it. And I loved it. And it was something that I had already had when I had my shiny object syndrome. That I said, I need to do this. This is one of my dreams. I'm going to complete it. And that's not by itself. That's obviously something that I might add into the school course on how to create books and sell them through Amazon printing. That always can be added on as extra income or something extra if you have some ideas that are coming or you want to share your journey. But I fell short on creating content to promote it, and it still sells because the community is amazing. So that's why I can tell you, if you have 1,000 true fans, and I don't have 1,000 true fans in my community, but they still do me solid, they still share, and they still buy the book. So when you create your 1,000 fans who you're interacting with twice a week on the lives, I fell in love with school because I was looking for an opportunity. I went into it, I said, I'm going to do drop shipping. But I just came out of surgery. I didn't have a 6-month nest egg. I cashed in my 401k so we could survive while I was looking for an opportunity, because I was too injured to go back. As a matter of fact, I still had like a wound that was kind of recovering. And I knew that because the oil field during elections kind of shrinks down, they were crossing us from one side to the other, because I'd gone from a division where I was carrying a lot of heavy stuff to a division that was a little softer. It was still hard, but it was still a little softer. But I knew that they were sending people from this division over to that one because they were short staffed. So I said, I'm not going to go back to that. And it didn't make sense financially either. Once you go through a surgery and you know, even if you're doing short-term disability, it's 40% of what you made. And the oil field had already slowed down for a minute, so it wasn't a lot of money. It really wasn't. So I said, okay, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to do all this and I'm going to do all the research. And I said drop shipping, which is amazing. You can do it, but you do have to have a budget for Facebook ads or for Instagram ads. Because really what moves there, even though you don't have the product physically because you're not buying it wholesale, with drop shipping is you have an account with somebody and you pick a product. You promote the product through a website and through social media using ads, and it costs money. They're good. Every one you get for Facebook, every $1 you invest, you get $3 back. So it's doable, it's great, but you have to have a little bit of a nest egg to know what you're doing right and wrong, because you have to tweak it to make sure that you're making that money. Not a bad avenue. Whatever you do online, you're going to make money. You just have to have the time to figure it out and somebody to guide you through, have a mentor to do it. So I was like, okay, this is okay. I did it. I didn't do any Facebook ads. I didn't have a budget for it. And I was online trying to figure out how to do, but before I get any farther and I keep digressing and I tell you the rest of the story, is that was really the change. I've been looking for a change so that I could spend time with my family, where I could make the income that I worked hard for, make the income that I deserved, because I've worked a lot. And no matter how many hours you work, no matter how hard you work, no matter how good you're at stuff, sometimes you don't get paid. You don't get paid what you deserve. It's a capitalist market. That's what it's about. It's try to get the most work out of the least pay. That's just how it is. Even in the oil field, I went into a company that trains really, really well, but they're not known for paying really, really well. And it wasn't a field that I was in love with, where I was like, let me go to another company that does the same thing because I love this. For me personally, there's guys that I work with and women and men that work there that are extremely passionate about it, and that's what makes the world go round. But I wasn't. I want something where I can have security for my family, and I can travel whenever I want, and I can see my family and interact with them and take care of them if an emergency happens. If I get sick, I know that I can still work because this isn't physical. It's hard. Setting it up is hard. Starting. But it's not oil field hard. It's not dairy cow hard right? It's not construction hard. So, you know, you got to outweigh stuff, and eventually it gets easier. Just the learning curve while you're getting, if you're completely new to this. If you're not, then, but it's just that little hump, that little learning curve, and after that, it gets smoother. Your content has a base, your course has a base, and you're just tweaking, fixing, and seeing what works. So I went and I was trying to figure out, I was like, everybody that I see has a landing page that's promoting on TikTok, and it's called a stand store. I was like, but it's not in my budget to get a stand store. I was like, I'm just gonna have to figure a way to use my Shopify, where I was selling t-shirts. You can still see the t-shirts up there, maybe. I'll show them to you. You can go to jetemotions.com. I haven't fixed anything yet. The t-shirts are still there. And so I was like, let me do t-shirts, and I'm gonna see if I can get through Shopify. So I made like a little stand store with Shopify, where I put an extra landing page that would link to my school, that would link to jetemotions.com, the website. And while I was doing that, before I created it, I ran into my mentor, and life changed. Because school brings everything together. It brings commerce, because you're selling a digital course, whether it's one time, or you're selling a digital membership, which is recurring income. It even links in affiliate. Affiliate marketing is its own thing. And I did email marketing before I did after I created the website for the t-shirts, I did email marketing. I was like, there has to be a way to do this, and I did a weekend challenge with, they're famous. They go on, they're like, because what I thought it was an e-commerce store. They said, we'll build you an e-commerce store. I was like, okay, maybe I can do this, and then I can learn how to do the email integration, so that way I can do it with my other website, which you could, if you do funnels. You just link your website and get your leads and send them the information, as long as it matches, right? You can't send somebody that's wanting to know how to make money online and send them recipes for carrot cake, right? They're not going to be super happy. They're like, how did this person get into my inbox? This is weird. So I did it. I set it up for a weekend. I went to pick up my car in Texas. It was still in Texas. I live in Florida. And I went to pick it up, and I did it a whole weekend. And it was amazing, because they show you how to integrate the softwares, which, if you're not familiar with email marketing, it's a lot of moving parts. It's one software where you respond to stuff, right? And it's another software company that gives you the products that you're going to promote. And then there's a third-party company that's telling you, that's giving you the leads, you're buying the leads from. So it has a lot of moving parts, right? And then plus it's the person teaching you the content. And then there's one software that's holding on to your contacts. And then there's one software that's responding. Obviously, some of these are already, they're combined. I think the software autoresponder is combined with your contact list. But you also have to have another software that's hosting. So you have to have a website. You have to have URLs and a hosting with WordPress. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it's really successful, because it's something, I think it's for every $1 that you invest, you get $40 back with email marketing. It spaces itself out, and that's why we incorporate email marketing to school. Right now, it's a lot simpler than doing email marketing by itself completely, because all we're doing is one funnel, maybe two for your offers, and we're getting those contacts and promoting and then pushing everybody to school. It's just one product. It's not like you have 10 products that you're pushing out but anyways, so a lot of moving parts, and it's expensive. Just for the leads, I had to get the smallest package for $70 for 100 leads. That was only 100 leads in a month. So I would maybe get 3, it wasn't promised. And then out of those 100, so it's a numbers game. So you are gonna get those clicks, you are gonna get those conversions, but the less leads you buy, the less they're going to click on that month, and the less you put into your funnel. Because you're starting somebody off and they're like, no, and then you send them another email, they're like, no, they're like, another email, no, but maybe in 6 months they're ready and they're like, yes. So a group bought at the beginning, the others said no, bought in the middle, others said no, bought down there. There's people that went to that event, they were like, the guy asked, he's like, how many of you did this after 18 months? People were like raising their hand through the Zoom meeting. So funnels are amazing. They get you like a constant drip of conversions. So that's amazing. It was just super expensive, because all these softwares I'm talking about, the autoresponder, $40. The leads, to get a good amount of leads per month, $7.50, right? And so hosting, there was a program that they were recommending, it was $40 a month versus one that they had before, and I think they were making more money on it. So that's why they moved, but it's not important. At the end of the day, the startup cost, so there was two barriers to entry. Tech, fortunately, I was kind of ahead of the game. I use my computer a little bit more often, and I understand a little bit about email marketing when I was doing it. There's some people that didn't. They really had to have their faith in that everything was set up, and they were just going to pay for their leads and just keep going that way. So tech, huge barrier to entry, and finances. That's a lot of overhead monthly until it starts rolling and paying for itself. So I was like, okay, that's great, but then it kind of made me super sad, because when you're out there in the internet doing it by yourself and you're collecting all the information and you're not getting a result from it, that's why a lot of people just jump off and they get discouraged. And that's why I think community is super important, because if somebody's feeling down and they can't see, you're not able to see the perspective of what it is you need to change or tweak or you need help with. And in school with a community, whether you're helping people lose weight, get into shape, whether you're helping people understand skin routines, whether you're helping people learn how to paint, if they get stuck, they can always ask you a question in the community. They can ask the question to the community. They can ask where to find it in your resources, and then you can walk them through it through a live. So it's amazing. That's really why I chose school. I was like, this is perfect. I want to help people the way I needed help. So that was really what made me fall in love with it. But yeah, that's why I transitioned from trucking to digital marketing and school as a platform. I did one question. It was with ChatGPT, and it felt a lot more natural, right? It wasn't scripted. It was just me going off and talking to you. So take advantage of that. Get a friend or a family member to read you out a question, and that'll make the content a lot more natural, and it'll make it a lot easier on you. Trust me, I know. And if you're even still way newer, start recording yourself on the camera on TikTok and put all your videos private, but record them and do them. Record them and do them on your phone, and then go through them and see what bothers you. And then after a while, you'll get so used to your voice, you'll look forward to seeing the silly things you say. You'll be funny. It's funny how you can make yourself laugh, and you can make yourself happy, and you can see the change too. I guarantee you, if you do 3 or 4 videos a day, don't share them with anybody, keep them on your phone, and in a month, you watch the first video and you watch the video that you made in a month, you're gonna see a lot of progress. That's if you're super new, if you're super shy. If you're not super new or you're not super shy, let's get on it. Come on, let's go. Make that video and throw it. Stop over-analyzing and waiting for perfection. Perfection will come when you practice. You know, a few people did get on their bike and started riding, but you weren't the best bike rider, even if you could do that. But most of us got on the bike, fell over a few times, too scared because we went too fast, right? Maybe fell over at a fast speed, but you learned, and now you can ride a bike. Same thing with roller skates. So it's the same thing with content. So please go ahead and comment and let me know which one you're going to do, if you're going to do the record one, or if you're going to go ahead and just start launching it. And if you do launch it, put your link in there. I would love to watch your video here. All right, take care. Bye.